I can't believe I'm saying this, guys. After 25 years, we're finally here. One Piece final saga has begun.
Yes.
And so much has already been revealed. The death of Vivi's father, the king of Alabasta, Sabo igniting the flames of rebellion, Imsama preparing for war. But most importantly, Redhead Shanks has finally entered the chat. This is it, guys. The chase to One Piece has begun and the end is near. Luffy versus Shanks is pretty much confirmed. Hopefully a debut back fight and nothing too serious, right? But even if one of them does die, no problems, because Oda has introduced Hashirama cells as Greenbull reveals his devil fruit, or should I say god fruit. After this 1 month break, there's a lot to break down. But wait, what am I wearing? This looks amazing! For this grand occasion, we have just launched our anime drip One Piece Nakama shirt and hoodie, alongside our exclusive eye collection with Zoro.
Bro, if I was a girl, my legs wide open, bro.
And you, my friends, can get a good 15% off your entire order for the next 48 hours using the code SHANKS. What are you guys waiting for? Go cop yourself some lit designs at animedrip.shop. Welcome back, everyone. It's time to go Steam. The chapter starts in the flower capital with the red Scabbards confronting Greenbull, saying that they can't trouble Luffy and the others. Once again, Greenbull is illustrated subtly using his devil fruit ability, regrowing the barren land of Wano. These little things are actually very important in understanding who Greenbull really is. Since Kaido's tyranny, Wano as a country has been rinsed out dry. Kuri, as a prime example, was devastated by the production of Smile, leaving the water poisonous and effectively even the land itself. This growth of greenery will help purify the land and rejuvenate the country back to its prime. As Greenbull does this, he comments on how impressed he is by Luffy's ability to sway others, as on the seas you don't see that often. This unique trait of Luffy was brought up by Mihawk once before, even saying this ability he possesses is the most terrifying power of all. Other characters like Hyogoro mentioned this too. As the samurais meets Greenbull, he tells them to buzz off whilst they still can. Now, a key thing I want to note is that though from the get-go, Greenbull's attitude is coming off as a huge simp for the government and Akainu, but I really believe it's all an act. I know, maybe I'm overthinking it, but come on, it can't be this corny, right? This has to be a charade. It can't be real, right? Listen, I'm just still hoping he's related to Zoro somehow. Hey, cut that shit out, man.
No, I don't think I will.
Either way, the moment that the gang realizes it's a marine, they instantly understand he is Luffy's enemy. So they prepare themselves to defend him whilst he is recovering. You know, that's the least they can do, right? His devil fruit becoming one with forest, he starts to lecture them on the ways of the outside world. He explains that the celestial dragons are gods, and those with no ties with them or the government have zero standings. We then finally learn that Greenbull's devil fruit is the Logia forest no Mi. Yes, which made him a what the frick is this shit? He's a freaking Pokemon, man. Oh my god, he's Sudowoodo from freaking Pokemon. but for real, guys, he becomes the forest man and states he is the incarnation of nature itself, a source of life that rivals the power of the sea. This reinforces the theory we already covered. Yes, the god fruit. Greenbull's wording here makes it seem as though this devil fruit is one of the most formidable in the entire One Piece world. Other powerful fruits have been introduced in a similar way. The Guru no Mi being described as possessing the power to destroy the world, the Yami no Mi being the most evil, and the Hito no Mi, modeled Nika, being the most ridiculous. This power rivals the sea itself. And as we know from Sky PR, there are 4 unique devil fruits that we have discussed, which relates to the gods aforementioned. One of them, of course, being the god of the forest. Yes, at this point, This is canon. Okay, seriously, Greenbull's statement also alludes to the existence of another god fruit to control the sea. The power of Poseidon pretty much fills this category, but who's to say that the sea itself cannot be manipulated too? Either way, from the use of Greenbull's power, it's clear he has awakened his devil fruit, as he is seen spreading his ability through the ground to create giant fists by manipulating the earth itself, a move he labeled flexing for his muscle. I know there is some dispute that this is a form of awakening, as Logias are clearly different to Paramecia's. However, I would even suggest Kuzan, Akainu, and even Crocodile have awakened Logias, though none of the others have illustrated this level of control to their surroundings. So another way we can look at this is that Greenbull's awakening is unique and is very much like a Paramecia. This could mean that the god fruits only truly become godly after awakening of the said fruit is unlocked, allowing them to possess two types of devil fruit abilities. Luffy's became a Zoan and Paramecia, whereas Greenbull's became a Logia and Paramecia. This idea was also kind of alluded in the Road to Laugh Tale, retelling the nature of a god fruit having multiple characteristics. But going forwards, Greenbull then starts to spout the very ideology the world government and their dogs are forced to believe in, which is the importance of hierarchy in the One Piece world. To build stability, prejudice is needed, as it forms a structure of top-bottom power, where of course the celestial dragons are the top and the ordinary citizens are the bottom. Anyone outside of the system needs to be eradicated. Only then orders can be given and executed, leading to ultimate justice. Greenbull acts as if he stands by this very ideology. In reality, this ideology has multiple flaws, as the interpretation for what justice, order, and even growth is subjective. The ones on top lays out the rules, but why are they correct? A better system that Oda is trying to tell us through his story is freedom and democracy, where the ones who rule are the people themselves. In the end, we will only be held accountable for our own actions. The theme of One Piece is clearly leading to this, where at the end of the story, the world government will go through an extreme change. The celestial dragons and the nobles will be toppled. A new circle will be formed with all the rebellious kingdoms from Vivi, Dalton, Shirahoshi, Rebecca, and Sabo leading the new world. But until then, Im Summer's tyrannical regime continues, and Greenbull pushes this reality onto the samurais by going all out, merging with the earth itself. Greenbull says he will kill them all, and even 1,000 more just to get to Luffy. In the eyes of the Marines, he would not be breaking any laws, as Wano is a solitary island. Greenbull evidently is exposing the situation Wano is in, showing that they need to have a strong army as soon as possible, otherwise they will quickly be eaten by the world government. Before Greenbull continues though, Yamato jumps in from out of nowhere. She smashes him over the head, shocking the admiral with her haki. Yamato is sickened by him. The people of Wano have finally been liberated after 20 gosh dang long years, so they are rightfully celebrating that, and she won't let him spoil it. Obviously he is confused, asking who the heck are you? Where she introduces herself as Kaido's son. Yeah, I think that left him more confused. But before he can even comprehend, Momonosuke flies in with his dragon form, even using what is this, borrow fart? Allow me, okay? It's the effort that counts, I know. Bruh. Momonosuke does show the change he has undergone, instantly willing to go against the admiral despite his attack failing, shouting he will drive him out of the capital before chomping down on one of the branches he has created. Although determined, he's still easily taken care of, being wrapped around in its branches, and it seems everything's hopeless. The others are about to step in, but Momo shouts out, "Stay out of it!" shocking even Yamato. This whole interaction is to solidify Momonosuke's resolve and the immediate need for Wano to fix up for the upcoming war. But chapter 1054 paves the way for the final saga with the reintroduction of none other than Red-Haired Shanks.
Oh my god! Okay, it's happening!
Yes! At the sea close to Wano, we see the ship of the red-haired pirates. The members of the crew are still stunned at the news of Luffy becoming an emperor of the sea. The rest of the crew are excited to see Luffy once again after so many years. Well, except, Yasuo, because, he joined the milk club, leaving his dying wife and child and never got back.
He needs some milk!
Something interesting to mention is the fact that Lime Juice, yeah that's his name, mentions that Kid is also in Wano, as he is someone who tried to pick a fight against the red-haired pirates during the 2-year time skip, losing his arm. Shanks looks at Luffy's wanted poster and reminisces once again about the day that the red-haired pirates went after the Gomu Gomu no Mi and had to fight CP9 agents for it. We can see a young Who's Who being confused as to why the red-haired pirates would attack them over some random weak devil fruit. This illustrates that no one knew about the connection between the Gomu Gomu no Mi and the Nika fruit, reinforcing this mission to retrieve the Gomu Gomu no Mi was directly given by Im-sama himself. However, like Blackbeard, Shanks knew what he was after, which explains that even being told by Beckman that there are CP9 members inside the ship, making it a hassle, he proceeded to steal the fruit. This very flashback is proof Shanks knew its power and was likely the person who informed the 5 elders Luffy aided. Shanks continues to think back to the time he spent in Fuchsia village and with Luffy and the day he lost his arm. Something that would normally be a traumatic scar is instead a nice memory and a constant reminder of the promise made between Luffy and Shanks. Some of the newer members of the red-haired pirates are surprised by the fact that the top officers of the crew actually knew the Straw Hat Luffy, showcasing how despite only now becoming an emperor, Luffy's infamy has skyrocketed into the legend status after continuous feats since arriving in the new world. To the shock of most, Shanks says that he doesn't have any plans to reunite with Luffy just yet, using the fact that Bartolomeo is wrecking havoc as an excuse before going to Beckman and saying that it was time to go claim it, the One Piece. Now, why did Shanks show up at the shores of Wano only to leave a minute later? It could be that he came to make sure the Marines or Blackbeard wouldn't interfere in the War of Onigashima, similar to how he stopped Kaido from coming to Marineford. However, with Zunisha showing up, that purpose was fulfilled, giving Shanks no reason to stay. Or a better explanation could be that he came to Wano just in case Luffy and the gang failed the raid.
I believe the raid will fail.
I'm sure Shanks, knowing the importance of the Gomu Gomu no Mi, couldn't let Luffy, whom he bet the future on, just die. Remember Luffy's promise? He will come meet Shanks when he has become a great pirate. Not Shanks will come to meet Luffy in his turf, because let's be honest, Wano is part of Luffy's territory now as a Yonko. So with Luffy having the same title as Shanks of an Emperor, he will set sail to meet Shanks in Elbaf as the next arc. Oda in Road to Laugh Tale already gave us the next possible islands Luffy will sail to. The 3 islands which could possess the final road Poneglyph could be Vera, where people are always warring, which we think will be the next destination of the revolutionaries, Full Lead Island, which is the base of the Blackbeard pirates, and finally Elbaf, which in all likelihood Shanks' territory, with his character being inspired from Viking lore and Elbaf having resemblance to Vikings. The next island has to be Elbaf though, because out of all 3, it is the most hyped island, and with One Piece at the final saga, I don't think the crew will travel to more than 1 or 2 more islands before the big war and reaching Laugh Tale. If you want more evidence and want to learn more about Luffy versus Shanks and Shanks' true identity, then check out the video on screen. The scene then switches to Akainu, Kizaru, and an unknown marine of high rank conducting a meeting to discuss the effects of Sabo's recent accomplishments. The unknown marine strongly believes that the revolutionary army led by Monkey D. Dragon needs to be dealt with, and adds how Sabo, now called the Flame Emperor, is being treated as a hero, and his reputation seems to even surpass that of Dragon. Akainu says that he's aware of this already, and the Navy doesn't have enough manpower to fight an all-out war against the revolutionary army while maintaining peace throughout the world's seas. Then the death of Nefertari Cobra, the king of the Arabasta kingdom, is revealed. The marine says that this is a major feat for the revolutionary army, as Cobra's family was one of the 20 kingdoms that formed the world government 800 years ago. However, the revolutionaries' true objective was to free Kuma as a slave, not kill Cobra. What I think likely happened is that Im-sama and the Gorosei sent assassins to kill Vivi, whose picture is stabbed by Im-sama in chapter 908. But Cobra got in the way of the assassin, sacrificing himself so his daughter could live, with Vivi fleeing alongside Sabo and the revolutionary. However, another possibility would be that Im-sama was the one who kidnapped Vivi and Cobra was killed as he got in the way. Anyhow, I don't think Sabo or the revolutionaries killed Cobra. The chapter continues the discussion as the three talk to Kuroma, the head of the marine investigations, about Princess Vivi's disappearance, who states that they're still trying to find everything they can. Kuroma also talks about the rumors that state Sabo as the one who is pulling the strings behind all these incidents and causing the revolution of 8 nations, hoping that the world leaders would make a return. This has already started sparks of rebellion across the world, and that many people are starting to treat him like a god, referencing his statement about Sabo's reputation growing much more than that of even Monkey D. Dragon. The news of Sabo killing Cobra, who is part of the royalty of the world, is proof that the Celestials aren't invincible. The infiltration of the revolutionaries emboldened the oppressed to fight back, raising their morale. If the revolutionaries, who are humans from the lower world, can attack the Holy Land and escape by stealing the Celestials' property, which in this case was Kuma the slave, then the current world order can be toppled down. People can see the weaknesses in the armor. But make sure to get this video to 15,000 likes and hit the notification bell, because we are planning on making a full-on deep dive into what's coming next for Sabo and the revolutionaries. Also, be sure to use code Shanks for 15% off at checkout on animedrip.shop.